Chapter 9. Touch. After an argument with Gray, you went to storm out of your bedroom only for him to grab a hold of your wrist, stopping you. Now the two of you stand frozen, staring down at where you're connected, where you can feel him. You're actually touching me, I can't believe it. Gray squeezes your wrist with just enough pressure to make sure his hand won't pass through yours and flushes you a hesitant smile. Just double-checking. Wouldn't want to get my hopes up for nothing. The tinge of worry in his voice makes your heart ache. You turn and step closer to him, and he lets go of your wrist. Touch his face, guide his hand to my cheek. You reach your hand out slowly, coming just close enough that your touch can raise the curve of his jaw. Is this alright? He nods, his eyes closing as you gently run your fingers across the rough stubble scattered over his cheek. You move on to run your fingertip over his lips, relishing the way it makes his breath hitch. It's incredible. He places his hand over yours and guides it further down to the taut line of his neck where you strangely can feel the thrum of his pulse. I've wanted to touch you like this for so long. You can hear the desire in his voice and you feel yourself swaying towards him, seeking more of his touch. I never would have known. He laughs at the teasing tone of your voice, the vibrations of it traveling out of him and into you. But I am curious just how long you've been wanting this. Your gaze softens as you take another step forward. You're standing nearly chest to chest, just close enough you can feel his breath on your skin. If you've wanted it as long as I have. Since the moment I laid eyes on you in that dream, I just didn't know it yet. Then suddenly he surges forward, crashing his lips against yours. It's heated, tender, like nothing you've ever felt before, warm, electricity spreading out from the contact. Iris. He whispers your name like a plea, desperate longing, and you feel your knees go weak. I'm right here, I'm not going anywhere. You come together again, throwing your arms around his neck to steady yourself as he deepens the kiss. Even when you're forced to break apart, you simply rest your forehead against his, losing yourself in the intensity of his gaze. I want to take every part of him I can get, or savor this moment. You lean in close, press a kiss to his cheek, and then the corner of his mouth. He lets out a soft hum as you finally close the gap between your lips again, your eyes falling shut. The kiss is slower, as though you're both mapping out every element of the other and committing it to memory. Gray slides his arms around your waist as he licks along your bottom lip, and you melt against him. Never want this moment to end. He ducks his head down to trail kisses along your jaw and then your neck, each one making you shiver. I didn't think I'd ever get to feel again, and I plan to take full advantage. I mean, there's so much I could do now. Eat, drink, take an incredibly hot shower. But even as he speaks, his fingers hold you tighter, as though he has no intention of ever letting go. Spoiled. You roll your eyes, only to let out a little yelp as he nips playfully at your collarbone. But then he soothes the spot with a gentle lick, and you bite your lip to hold back a gasp. You're right. Spoiling you should be on that list, too. You tug him back up into another kiss, and when you pull away, a soft smile has replaced his usual smirk. I don't know how long this will last, but how long I'll be able to hold you in my arms to kiss you like this. But for once, I know what I want more than anything else in this world. What's that? A Klondike bar. His eyes find yours, and in that moment of connection, you can feel his longing, affection, his desire, and they're all focused on you. I want you, Iris. More than I've ever wanted anything or anyone. Right. I can definitely do that. His lips find yours again, just as perfect and addicting as the first time. You let out an annoying huff when he pulls away. He chuckles, and pressing a soft kiss to the quick curve of your jaw. Why don't we take this somewhere more comfortable? He leads you over to your bed, and the two of you fall back onto it, still tangled in each other's arms. Are you alright with just cuddling here? He kisses the tip of your nose, then proceeds to pepper your face with even more kisses before you finally capture his lips. I don't care what I'm doing, so long as it's with you. You're not sure how long you stay like this, kissing sweetly while wrapped up in his arms, but sleep eventually takes you. The next morning, you wake up and roll over, expecting to find Gray snuggled up beside you, only to find the other side of the bed empty. Gray? Your voice echoes through the room, dread settling in your stomach when there's no response. Throwing off the covers, you jump out of bed and pull on some clothes before rushing downstairs, but Gray isn't there either. Where could he even be? He never leaves. Snatching one of the crystals on the table, you focus your energy into it. Please tell me he's alright. You let out a sigh of relief when it pulses in your hand, filling with a muted pink glow. Our connection's still strong, so there's no reason he isn't here. But then why would he leave? Looking back down at the crystal, you bring it to your chest, letting more of the energy flow into you. Show me to Gray. You follow the pool of the crystal through the town until you arrive at the gates of the somewhat familiar cemetery. Gray must have come to see his grave. And I don't have a clue where the Morrison plot would even be. It could be a mausoleum for all I know. Stepping into the grounds, there's no sign of Gray at first glance, or anyone else, for that matter. Gray, are you here? Is everything alright? I don't know why you ran off this morning. If it was something I did, or if you just needed some space. But I'm here now if you want to talk about it. Words are met only by silence, and you let out a heavy sigh. Or not.
I'm afraid that talking has never been one of his strong suits, a trait that runs in the family. How many relationship has been filled by the sword of silence?
You jump as you whip around, only to relax as you spot another ghost, an older gentleman dressed in stuffy clothing.
It is nice to see you, Iris.
I'm sorry, but do I know you?
Not directly, my dear. I am Samuel Morrison, one of Gray's ancestors. The most famous of the Morrisons, if I do say so myself. For it was I who invented the locomotive part that revolutionized the industry and procured our family its vast fortune.
That's great and all, Samuel, but,
ever since my untimely death, I've made it my duty to watch over the Morrison family, ensure their safety and continued prosperity.
I'm just trying to... Wait. Your eyes light up as his words fully sink in. Does that mean you were there the night Gray died? Did you see who killed him?
Oh, alas, was not. I had witnessed his debauchery events in the past and had no wish to partake again. A choice I regret more than you know. Protecting my family is the only thing that matters to me.
So you're stuck here until you saved someone?
I'm not entirely sure.
That's, rather honorable of you.
I had many regrets in my life, Iris. This is merely my way of atoning for past sins.
How has it been going for you? I mean, other than what happened with Gray.
I have given a few nudges in my time as a ghost, pushing my family in the right direction, but nothing truly impactful. Perhaps someday I will do something that truly makes up for my past failures.
I think that you're being too hard on yourself.
But you do not even know of my mistakes.
Maybe not, but the fact that you're still thinking about them after 100 years says something.
A fair point. I shall ponder this further and get back to you post-haste.
Okay, well, first, can you help me find Gray? We were in bed together when I fell asleep, but...
You're in bed together with Gray? I know he is a ghost, but surely you understand the possible scandal to do so when you are not married.
Yeah, well, welcome to 2024 with all the rave. Samuel, people who aren't married have been living together like that for decades now.
Oh, and here I thought Gray and Alexandra were merely flaunting their impropriety. What has this world come to?
I ask myself that every day. I'd be happy to catch you up on all of it after we find Gray.
Yes, of course. He is lingering by his grave, as you'll no doubt suspected. Follow me.
But as you begin to head down the path deeper into the cemetery, you're stopped by a quiet, yapping bark. A ghost puppy. Of course. You turn to see an adorable Yorkie puppy bounding at you, tongue lolling happily out of his mouth. A familiar blue aura surrounds him. Oh, aren't you a cutie? You kneel down and reach out to the puppy, who runs happily right through your hand over and over again.
Ah, I see you've met another of the Morrisons. He was the runt of its litter, and after he passed, he stuck around out of love for his owner.
Who was his owner?
Why, Gray, of course.
The puppy looks up at Gray's name, letting out a happy yip.
It would do Gray's heart well to know that he's here. He loved this pup.
If Gray's really feeling down, I'm sure this puppy around will help cheer him up. And I'm not sure I can say no to this adorable face. I'm sure it's a diamond choice. Yep. Listen, I know it's for the purpose of the diamond choice, but holy hell, this dog is huge. He puts Clifford the big red dog to shame. I think I might be able to anchor him to Gray so that they'll always be connected. You'd like that, wouldn't you, boy?
Is there anything I can do to help?
Actually, yes, it'll be easier to anchor him if you could share a memory so I can get to know him a little better.
I remember when he was born. He was incredibly small. Gray felt he was very special because of that.
Well, we both know how Gray likes to stand down if he saw himself in this puppy.
Indeed. From the very beginning, Gray was infatuated. He held him forever. Thought he was though he was still just a boy, he took the puppy everywhere he went.
I'm surprised. He was like that.
Gray wasn't always closed off. He was like any other kid at one time.
Well, maybe not like any kid, considering the family wealth and winery.
I suppose you are right. That's what got to him in the end, after all. Either way, the puppy's life was not very long. Gray had not even selected a name for him when he was lost. He wanted it to be perfect.
Oh. But the momentary sorrow fades as you look back at the puppy, who pants happily up at you. Hang tight, little guy. We'll get you back with your owner in no time. You focus all your energy in the crystal that brought you here, imagining Gray as a child with his first pet, the love and innocence in his eyes. The crystal vibrates in your palm, radiating warmth until you feel the bond snap into place. That did it. You decided to keep the ghost puppy. Listen, I'm not cleaning up after him. Now, let's go and find Gray. Oh my god, I've stepped in ghost turd. You follow Samuel further into the cemetery, coming to a halt when you spot Gray sitting in the grass, blue aura flickering around him. He doesn't look so good.
He is not, but I suspect you will have more success in cheering him than I. I will give the two of you a moment of privacy, but do not hesitate to call for me should you require my assistance.
Thanks, Samuel. He gives you a final nod and then takes a few steps back before disappearing. Taking a deep breath, you cross the short distance towards Gray. The puppy goes bounding ahead of you. Gray looks up, stunned. The puppy leaps into his lap, eagerly leaning up to lick his face. No way, is that... Gray pets the dog's head, ruffling his fur affectionately. Then he looks up at you as you approach, smiling. It's your old puppy. How? How did you do this? He came to me when I got here. He's been waiting for you. I think the little guy needs a name, don't you? He always did. I came up with dozens, but he was gone before I got to decide on one. Well, now, you have him back. He blinks rapidly, rubs his eyes with the heels of his palms. I never expected. I didn't even know that was possible for dogs. And ghost animals aren't very common, but that just shows how much he loves you. Why don't you name me Myros, since you're the one who brought him back to me? You just can't decide on a name, can you? You've got me. Bobby.
Ruff ruff, Bobby. Bobby! Damn it, Bobby.
I think he looks like a Bobby.
I think you're right.
I should try to pet him. Tell Gray to pick him up. I think Bobby wants to be held. Gray scoops the puppy up with ease, and Bobby eagerly nestles into his arms with a big yawn. It's like old times. You take a seat at his side. He turns to you, looking at you for what feels like the first time in forever. You weren't there when I woke up this morning.
Sorry for slipping out on you.
I was worried about you. I didn't know if you were actually gone forever, or if there was just something that upset you.
You don't need to worry about me, Iris.
He flashes you a grin, but you see through it. He's putting on a brave face. That's not something you can control, Gray. I care about you, and if you are upset, I want to know why. I want to help make it better.
I just needed to clear my head. I was grappling with all that had changed last night about me, us.
Did you regret it?
We kissed, dude. Come on.
Your stomach sinks at his pause, but when you turn to look at him, you find him watching you intensely, his gaze boring into you.
I don't regret one moment of it. I've been longing for you for weeks, and I never thought I'd have a chance.
He reaches out to take your hand, his own shaking, but the moment you should touch, he passes right through you, leaving a familiar tingle in his wake. Oh.
I woke up and realized I couldn't touch you anymore, and it just got the better of me. I spiraled.
So you came to your grave. Wouldn't that just make it worse?
I thought having to face it head on would make it easier to deal with, but instead it just left me more frustrated and confused.
Pressed your shoulder up against his so he can feel your presence at his side, and gradually some of the tension eases from him. Do you want to talk about it?
It's just that my death doesn't feel like it's only a bad thing anymore. It's a reason I can't touch anymore, which is what I was upset about, but it also what brought me to you.
Warmth blooms in your chest at his words, but it turns to an ache as his face falls.
But I know I'm going to mess this up. I always do.
Gray? You're self-sabotaging.
That's...
His forehead falls into his hand, the anger fading as quickly as it came.
Exactly what I'm doing, isn't it?
You're scared that you're going to mess things up. You're trying to run away before that happens. That way, you can say it was your choice.
Aren't you supposed to be a medium, not my therapist?
Honestly, there's a lot of overlap.
A moment of silence passes between the two of you, tension still heavy in the air.
Gray, don't you think you deserve to be happy?
You place your hand over his, drawing his gaze back to you. I don't know. Given how my past relationships have turned out, I feel like maybe happiness isn't in the cards for me.
Or maybe they turned out that way because that's how you were trying to protect yourself. Anytime you got close to someone, anytime you started to feel it was just too much, too vulnerable, so you push them away. I don't want you to push me away. And I'm not just saying that because being with you has made me happier than I've felt in a long time, but because I think it's done the same for you, Gray.
It has.
So let's cling to the happiness together then.
You're right. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but I want to face it with you by my side.
Offers you a soft smile. You reach out, cupping his cheek in your hand, even if he can't quite feel it. Then why don't we restart the day? We just woke up from the wonderful night together. What's the first thing you'd want to do with me?
Coffee. Snuggle and coffee. What? Gray smirks, eyebrows waggling, and you roll your eyes.
That too. Besides that.
Well, after cuddling up in bed for a while, I think I'd want to take you on a real proper date. Somewhere we can get away from the rest of the world. Like the beach.
Strolling through the waves, hand in hand, looking at all the cute little critters in the tide pools. Sounds romantic.
He kisses the side of your head, a little spark of electricity rushing through you at the near touch. Only the best for you.
The beach is also the perfect place for us to see if you can get a handle on your tangibility. Because the only thing better than spending time with you is spending time touching you.
Then what do you say? Is it a date?
Sounds perfect. Then what are we waiting for? To the beach. And hey, we get to take the puppy. To the beach. Yes, of course, you can come too. A short walk later, you and Gray step onto the rocky beach of the coast, the salty breeze wafting across your face. It's just as beautiful as it always is. Not as beautiful as you. You roll your eyes despite the way your heart flutters at his words. You've always got me out here, you know. You don't have to keep charming me. I like to. With a smile, you turn your gaze back to the horizon, watching as the waves crash and water pours into the tide pools. Bobby goes darting into the water, splashing about playfully. I haven't been out here in ages. I've forgotten how much I love it. Especially the calming sound. Don't they have apps for that? Yeah, but they're not the real deal. They do, but they don't fully capture the waves crashing and the churning, the breeze rustling through the trees. You close your eyes and let the sound wash over you, bringing you a sense of calm and peace. There's nothing like the real thing. I think I'm starting to understand that. The two of you smile at each other for a moment before you begin to step carefully over the wet rocks to get closer to the tide pools. I have to say, as far as first dates go, this is a little more unorthodox for me. Well, that's fitting, given how unorthodox our relationship is. It's not like I can even remember the last time I was on a date, so I don't have much to compare it to. I guess I can guess why that is. I did try it for a while, but it kept interfering with my work. You look over her as you feel the tingle of his touch on your hand. His eyes sparkle with affection as he watches you. Well, if I was able to, I'd have my hands on your waist right now. I'd say it was to keep you from slipping, but really it would just be an excuse to be close to you. Your fingers twitch against his as you long to feel his touch the way you did last night. Then we'd take a walk down the beach, I'd hold your hand and we'd talk for hours. Then, when the sun started to set, I'd kiss you. And I wouldn't stop until there was nothing but the stars above us. You really are romantic. He leans closer to you, his forehead nestling, nearly resting against yours, and before he lets out a heavy sigh, expression falling. I just wish I really could. Well, I did say the beach was a perfect place to try and get a handle on your tangibility. After all, water's a powerful conduit, I remember. Why don't you try touching something in the tide pool? You both squat down on the rocks to take in all the little creatures in the shallow pool of water. Touch the sea urchin, crab, starfish. Come on, I'll try it with you. You dip your hand in the water and use a single finger to gently stroke one of the starfish's legs. Gray reaches out after you, mimicking your motion as he runs his finger along the starfish's back. Can you feel it? Sort of. My finger's still passing through it, but it's soft, squishy. That's progress, at least. Not quite as fast as I hope, but I'll take it. And Gray stand back up and start walking down the shoreline. Bobby comes bounding out of the water, stub tail wagging as he looks up at you and Gray. You want to play fetch, boy? Gray scours the shore and stops as he finds a piece of driftwood. Let's try this again. He closes his finger on the stick, picking it up, but when he goes to throw it, it slips through his grasp. Bobby races after the stick anyway, pawing and biting at it to no avail as his body passes harmlessly through the wood. Damn. Thought I had it. Bobby doesn't seem to mind. And you did pick it up. You know, my family rarely came to the beach when I was a kid, and with them it was never any fun. But it's actually really nice being here with someone I like. I think this is exactly what I needed. It still feels weird doing things just because I want to. I did so much to spite my family, to upset them, I lost sight of what I actually enjoyed. What changed that? Gray stops walking, gazes deeply into your eyes. The intensity of it's enough to make your heart pound. You did. Being around you, seeing your kindness, the way you help other people, made me realize I've been doing it all wrong. Gray, you changed me too. I stopped caring about my own well-being. All that mattered to me was the ghosts I was helping. But you made me realize that I'm a better medium when I take time to care for myself. It only took literally hounding you to break a million times a day. I'm stubborn. What can I say?
Well, you were in good company. Look at us, making each other better.
There's a lot we can accomplish together.
Together. I like the sound of that.
Well, let's try one more thing.
You hold your hand up in front of you.
Slowly, Gray raises his palm up to join yours, your fingers resting against each other's. Close your eyes. Listen to my voice. His eyes fall closed easily in a display of trust that warms your heart. Now focus on your senses. Imagine the sand between your toes, the smell of the salty earth. Listen to the waves crashing. Watch his chest rise and fall evenly as he centers himself.
I think it's working.
Just let yourself feel. He takes another breath, and then his fingers slide neatly between yours, holding your hand. I did it. I knew you could. Now, take me in your arms. Wraps his arms around your waist, pulls you in until you're tucked tightly against him. You let your eyes slide shut, soothed by the soft rise and fall of his chest.
I never want to let you go.
One of his hands runs up your back, gently rubbing it gently, and even as you laugh, you melt into his arms. That'd be a little impractical, don't you think?
I don't care.
But you both break apart suddenly as a wave comes rushing in, soaking your shoes and sending you both running up the beach. Ugh, cold. As you turn to Gray, you watch as the color fades from his blue aura flickering back up. He sighs.
It was nice while it lasted.
It was more than nice. It was the perfect date. Then I'll just have to make sure the next one tops it. We'll save that until we've gotten some investigating done.
No promises.
You head out from the beach, a lightness in your chest that you haven't felt before. On your way back home, Samuel appears at your side, falling into step with you and Gray, much to the latter's confusion.
Iris, who's the old guy? It's me, Gray, your ancestor, Samuel Morris.
I ran into him when I was at the cemetery. He helped me find you, actually.
Like, didn't you, die, 200 years ago?
What have you been doing since?
Keeping an eye on my descendants. I have been watching you for your entire life, my boy.
Creepy. You can't quite hold back a snort, and Gray chuckles as he glances over at you.
It is my sworn duty to look after and protect my kin, and to that end I intend to help you uncover your murderer. Whoever wronged the Morrison family shall pay dearly for their crimes.
Samuel, are you sure? Wouldn't you rather try to move on?
With Gray's murder still on the loose, perish the thought. Not that I don't appreciate the support, Gramps, but you really don't need to do this. Perhaps peace awaits once we have captured the criminal and the Morrison family is safe, but no sooner.
Well, Samuel, are you doing this because you feel like you failed your family in some way?
I did fail them. In my life, I neglected them in favor of riches. I did not realize my mistake until it was too late.
But the ones you neglected are gone. They've already moved on, Samuel. Perhaps it's time for you too.
I truly do wish I could have found my peace with them, Iris. But my neglect did not just impact them. Our family still struggles with the same dilemmas I faced about wealth and appearances.
Cast a sidelong glance at Gray, who holds his hands up defensively. Hey, you don't gotta look at me like while you're saying it.
I would like to stop them from going down the same road, if I can.
Honestly, after how things went with Vivian last time, maybe we need all the help we can get.
Wonderful!
I don't even know what our next steps should be.
Whatever we do, we need to find a way for you to avoid being seen by her. The last thing I want is for you to wind up getting arrested.
Then maybe we should go somewhere she isn't.
And how is that supposed to help us gather evidence on her?
I was thinking we could try an office or store she frequents, talk to people she knows, that sort of thing.
The minute we start talking to someone about Vivian, she'll know about it. Gossip spreads fast in Sonoma County.
Then, what about going somewhere she's been after she's been there, in case she leaves something behind?
Gray looks unimpressed.
Okay, then what's your bright idea?
We must be bold if we wish to get to the bottom of this. First off, we can have Samuel keep an eye on Vivian to make sure there's no chance of us getting caught. If, for some reason, she's heading our way, he can pop in and warn us before she gets there. It would be my honor.
So, where are we breaking into?
Greg gasps and puts his hand to his chest in mock offense. Who says we're breaking into anything?
Literally every plan you've ever had involved breaking and entering.
Touché. And his face grows serious, that determined fire burning deep in his eyes. This time we're going straight to the source, no more messing around. We're breaking into Vivian's house.
Alright, without further ado, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head in the description, plenty of things to check out there, ways to support, whatnot. Let me know in the comments section below what you guys thought of the chapter. Alright, you already know my thoughts on this chapter/book. I guess I'll just say the following. Sorry about being late. If you had watched / listened to the messages at the end of the other videos, you know why. Otherwise, if you didn't, let's just put it this way. Yeah. Been through a lot of pain. We'll just go with that. Catch y'all later. Peace out.